Hey, everybody. Thought I'd give a quick shout out here. We'll have a few minutes. It's Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everyone around the whole world. We're live from the Philippines. So I thought I'd give a topic that I know is on the minds of everyone, maybe in America or maybe around the world, especially if you have a Filipina girlfriend. It's Christmas. Should you send money? I don't really know what to tell you. So maybe we should cancel now. No, just kidding. I mean, it's a very personal and difficult situation. Um, Money is a hard thing. Most marriages break up over money. I guess most relationships break up over money. So, should you send your Filipina girlfriend money? And, on the air over here and on YouTube, you see a lot of people saying they got scammed, they sent money. Um, hey, it happens, and you have to be careful with that. I would say that if you haven't met the Filipina, if you haven't met them face to face, I really wouldn't be so inclined to send money. It's very difficult because maybe something really did happen. They need some financial assistance. Maybe an emergency did happen. I don't know. And it's hard when someone's asking money, especially if you're doing a video chat. Like kind of a chatting thing is not that difficult to say no to. But when people don't really realize you're building up this rapport with a person, even over the internet, and you feel a connection, and you want that connection to build, and especially when there's some attraction, um, it's kind of hard. But you have to kind of let reason take over, and you have to think to yourself, how much money is this? Number one, and number two, I don't really know this person, all that well, and so you should think about it. I know people that are, sending. They I don't know people. I've heard of people, sending that money out there, and then they feel like, she asked me for 20, then 50, then 100, then 125, and a lot of people automatically think it's a scammer, and it might be a scammer, but you have to understand the mentality that they think that there's plenty of money in the U.S. and you're really not going to miss it. But they really shouldn't be asking for it. Really honest Filipinas are not going to ask for that money, no matter how much they need it. If they really want a relationship with you, they're not going to ask for it. The ethics here and the morals here, especially with the women, is pretty high, and they'll feel embarrassed, especially if their family finds out or friends find out they're asking a strange man, a foreigner, for money. The real honest ones will just go, no, no, I'm not going to do that. They won't even talk about it. They may seem distant on the chat. They may seem like they're upset, but they'll probably say, forget about it. Or, Filipinos are very good at smiling, and they keep talking and laughing. They probably won't mention it unless it's something devastating, really bad. They're not going to ask for that money because they know it's wrong to ask for it, and they're embarrassed by it, and they don't really know you, so they're not going to put you in that position. Now, some may have been chatting for a while, talking for a while. They may feel like, hey, they're a foreigner, they have some money. I really need it. I'm desperate. They may, and then it's up to you in your court. And I would say just be completely honest. I would say, I really don't know you. I'm sorry. Think I don't really have a lot of money either. Um, I'm sorry, I can't really, send that. Sorry about that. But Christmas or holidays is always a good time to send a small gift. If you haven't met face to face, to send that gift to them. But the asking of money is a hard thing, even between friends and people you know. Never mind a person you haven't met face to face. So it's difficult to handle that situation. And I really have to say, my father is very good, not just with money stuff, but with anything. You can always say no. No. Some people feel bad about saying no. I'm one of them. I feel bad about saying no to things. But hey, no, sorry. Or I got to think about it. No, I got to think about that. No, I don't feel right about that right now. Or you can just smile and say, oh, I don't know. And remember, even if you say yes, you don't have to do it. If you get caught up in an emotional, romantic thing, and then you go, what you think about it, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. You don't have to. You don't have to send that money if you decide later you don't want to. And if the person gets upset, then the Filipino wasn't meant for you, or maybe it was a scam, or maybe it was something like that. And so you shouldn't feel bad about it. It's difficult, if you're attracted to that person, if you find them beautiful and attractive and funny, and you really have nothing going on in your life, and they're a breath of fresh air, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, and with a scammer, from what I've heard, they're going to keep upping it, classic scamming thing. They'll keep upping and upping and upping the money value. And I hear this thing, there's like a guy in the Philippines called Action Man. And you hear like these foreigners calling for help because they want to sue the Filipino for money. They've been sending money for years. And I think one guy sent a lot of money. And he was like, I don't understand. It's supposed to be a business there. And I'm like, dude, what are you sending all this money for? It's a tremendous amount of money. And some people are sending maybe over a couple of years. Maybe they met the girl once, they flew to the Philippines, and then they, went back and they were sending money for a year, because it's hard to visit the Philippines. And you think, honestly, you have a girlfriend and they may have multiple boyfriends. I mean, maybe. Okay. And, you really don't know. I mean, I remember a case I heard of where, the girl was actually married and she was taking money over the internet. The people were sending the money, and then she was meeting guys, and then just, kind of, they would go back and things like that. And eventually they got caught, doing it. But, it does happen. I mean, I don't really know the statistics on it. But like I said in my previous videos, when I was, looking for a Filipina to marry, I was never asked for a cent by any of them. And these were girls from Manila, because, you'll hear people say the province girls are more honest. I never had a girl from Manila ask me for money. I never had a province girl ask me for money. My wife was in her 30s. I was, corresponding with women in their 20s. Nobody asked me for money at all. They never even discussed it at all. And like I said, when I met my wife, I offered money. She had some dental work done, to meet me. And she, no. We're not engaged. We're not anything. We're not married. No, I'm not going to take your money. So, I mean, that's the kind of person you want to meet. But it gets more complicated after you meet them, and maybe something does come up. Things are really rough, and in the Philippines, financially, and they may ask for a small bit of money. And, after you meet them, I don't know how many times. I know our friend who was from Germany made multiple trips to Thailand. This isn't the Philippines, until he decided to trust her and to marry her. So, everybody's different. I think it depends on the level of trust you have in that person, the amount of money, how many times you've seen that person, and what you think it's for. But I mean, I don't think you should get into a relationship where you met the person once and you're sending $100 a month or something, or 200 or 300, and it comes out to $3,000 a year and you don't know that person. No, that's not good. I mean, if you've been over here a couple of times, 3 times, you're engaged, and the marriage plans are in there, hey, maybe you send a little bit of money if it's an emergency or things like that. Even I was sending things for medical, but these weren't large amounts of money. This is after we were married and the visa was trying to get through. I sent a little bit of money for that, or for holidays for food or something, because they have to buy a lot of food, people coming over to the house. But that all depends on you and your financial situation. A lot of Filipinos don't understand things in the U.S. I don't know so much about Europe, but Europe isn't doing that great either financially. We don't have the extra cash we used to. And you just have to let people know about that situation. But like I said, money, it doesn't matter even if you're a foreigner. I had coworkers that were Filipino that were sending money to their relatives, their own family for years, and the money disappeared. They sent money to pay off their mortgage in the Philippines, that their brother or sister. And when they went and said, "Hey, let's see the house. Hey, you pay off your house," they go, "Oh no, we use the money for other stuff." And they were like, "What? What?" We sacrificed for 10 years. We kept sending them money, money, money. And now you don't even own the house. So, I mean, these things, with money, like they say, money is the root of all evil. People will take that money and use it for other things. So, it's a tough situation. Now, like I said, if you haven't really met the person, but if you met them once, man, it's tough, Like I said, many people see what's going to happen, and I've heard this before. The girl will feel bad about asking it, but their family will tell them, "Hey, you have a foreigner boyfriend, ask them for the money." But the girl may feel bad about it actually and say, "No, I don't want him to do that. I don't want that." No. And they would put pressure on her to do it. Like, hey, we put you through school. Hey, we, when you were sick, we paid for this or something, and they may say, and in some cases, I heard stories where, they kicked the girl out of the house. They got into a fight over it. They wouldn't ask for the money or whatever have you. So you have to remember some of the family dynamics in that. My whole thing is, if someone's asking me for money, do I know them? What is it for? And how much it's for? And how often does it happen? Hey, anywhere, I've had coworkers. Hey, man, hey, you got $20? I mean, I ran out of money, like my check isn't going to go through, or whatever. Hey, what do you do? I had a guy, I remember when I was first working in Washington, D.C., they weren't going to pay me for a month. I told him, and he just took out his wallet and said, "How much do you want?" I said, "It's okay. It's okay, George. I'm not that bad off." But, a lot of people say I'm a sucker, but I mean, my advice would be if it's a small amount and if it's something medical or for food or paying an electric bill or something, I mean, I'd be like, "Hey, I can help you out this month, but, next month I am really not sure about it, but, I can send it this time." But I wouldn't make it like, a routine thing, unless you're married. And that becomes a whole nother issue. Which we can discuss another video, whether we're going to send money to support the family. See, and a lot of Americans forget there was a time when people, siblings used to send money back for their parents. Back like, in the 20s and 30s and up to the 50s even. And depending on your ethnicity, there are people that still are helping their families out. And now in America, we have a lot of children moving back with their parents. And it's causing all kinds of friction with the money situation, But, it's not uncommon for Filipinos to ask their family members, because things are tough here, to support the family for a certain amount of time until they get married. And usually the agreement is, each sibling will pay for the other sibling, until they, to go to college or help them in school. And they'll help a little bit, maybe 4 to 5 years. And then they move on and they get their own family, and the next sibling takes over and pays, whether it's the bills at home or whether it's just for the schooling or something like that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Hopefully the kids go to school, get their degree, and get a job, because a lot of people here, and I want to make this clear, all right? You'll see a lot of people say, "Oh, they can get a job." No. Jobs here are tough to find. And if you're only a high school graduate, it's almost impossible, okay, to find the job. I mean, there are people that do it, and they work hard and hard and hard. But those jobs pay very, very little and are very difficult. They may be street vendors. They may be in construction. These are tough jobs. That's why the Filipinos take schooling so seriously. Okay. And even if they're a college graduate, if they get a job at McDonald's, or if they're going to college and they get a job at McDonald's or Jollibee or a fast food place, that's considered like a good job, an okay job. People are competing over fast food jobs in the Philippines. Now, it hasn't gotten that bad in the U.S. yet, um, but here it has. And it's been, to get one of those jobs, you got to be a college graduate. And so, I think, it's always an old situation. Go get a job, go get this, go get that, go get your own money. You know, you know, maybe the girl is really desperate and can only ask because she's done everything and can't get a job. Okay. So, these are difficult things. And then if they go to for a loan, they're going to pay big percentages on that loan, even for something like $20 or something like that. And some people in the Philippines, just like the U.S., but they can't get credit cards in the Philippines, they'll go to the local loan shark, whatever you want to call them, and the interest will build up, and they actually take the person's ATM card and they go in and get their money to pay off the loans if they're working. So I mean, this is the situation here. Okay, in the Philippines, it's tough financially, and it's not easy to get a job. And the jobs, if you're not a college graduate, you take what you can get. It's hard. So I mean, it's not this attitude in the U.S. where jobs are getting hard to find too, by the way. And a lot of people, I mean, college graduates now are working in hotels at the front desk. People, it's hard too. They pay off $100,000 loan and things like that. Well, for the Filipinos over here, just to make ends meet, it's tough. Now, I'm not going to say it's right for them to ask. It's not right for them to ask for money. Okay. But you can always say no, especially if you don't know the girl, no matter how well you like her or don't like her or whatever, or what's happening or everything. You don't have to give that money up. You don't have to feel guilty about anything. You don't have to feel like you're a savior or anything like that. You can say no. And even if you say yes, you can later say no. If you feel embarrassed to say no, then email and say, I'm sorry, I don't got the money this time, or whatever. I don't have money at all. If you feel a little generous or you feel like you want to help and you know the person, you've met them a few times and you want to, send $10 or $20, okay, that's, okay, and that's up to you. But you should really think carefully about it, about what's going on, because you don't want to be in that situation where a year or 2 years, if you're giving money all the time, man, what's going to happen? Then you break up with the girl, or the girl may be a scammer. You've lost $2,000-$3,000. So I don't know why these men keep sending money and money and money after 1 year. I mean, I guess they plan to go back or whatever, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'd send a little, if you knew the girl and you were planning to marry her or move there and marry her or whatever, and you've met them 2 or 3 times, then, maybe you want to send a small amount every month. I'm thinking like $20, $30, something like that. But I wouldn't send hundreds. I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that. That's just my personal recommendation, because you just don't know. You don't know what's happening, what's going on. Now, if you are going to do that, which I highly, don't recommend at all, I'm against it, then I would say, show me the receipts of what's happening here. Show me what's going on. Show me the receipts of what's happening, for the electric bill or the school bill or whatever, and then, if they have receipts, it's probably, pretty legit or something like that, but that doesn't mean that they might not be a scammer. They might have 3 or 4 boyfriends online and getting money to pay their electric, their water, their rent. You just, you don't know. Okay. So, I mean, I just, and I would be very careful about it at all, but I wouldn't be, kind of the angry American saying, why are you asking me? Why are you asking me? Get a job, get this, one of those things, or be, I'm just saying it's very common here. People, especially if they think their daughter has a foreigner boyfriend, and it's common for families and relatives to help each other out. And they argue over money too. Like I said, they fight, families fight for years over it. I don't think the Filipino families don't fight over money, because they do. when one person doesn't give and the other one gives, or this one doesn't give, or so yeah, I would just make it clear when you meet the person, I'm not really that wealthy. Now, if you are wealthy, well, you got another situation, but you still don't have to give your money, But if, most Americans they're looking to get a Filipina girlfriend or wife are not really that wealthy. Hey, I don't have $1 million. I barely can pay my budget here. Sorry, I can't do that. Maybe when we get to know each other better, we get engaged, I can help you more. But, maybe at holidays, I can send, like I said in my other video, send a Belk Buy-On box, send food, send something like that. For their relatives, I mean, they'll love to get school supplies, So like if you send just school supplies for the new school year, or something like that, it's perfectly fine. You don't have to send money. You can help in other ways. Like I said, school supplies every year, or sending some clothes. You can easily go down to Salvation Army and get some really cheap, nice clothes for the family, and you can easily just ship those over. No problem at all. No difficulty, no problem. So that's really the kind of thing that I would work with the girlfriend more about doing than my wife's going outside. She's sneaking out. But in any event, she doesn't want to be, she knows I'm on air here. But, I would be more inclined to do that and say, I can help you in other ways. Okay, I can send this, I can send some other stuff. But to be honest with you, you don't know if you're dealing with a scammer or not. You just don't know until you go over there and you've met the person a number of times. I mean, there are scammers in the U.S. There are scammers everywhere. And when they're good at it, they can be very, 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 very good at it. And you won't even know. And like I said, there are scammers here that scam their own families. They take their money and their money goes somewhere and you don't know where it's going. And there are arguments about that too. So, I mean, my first rule is I wouldn't send any money unless I've met the person a few times and I was committed to them. Okay. And then the second thing is, maybe I wouldn't send money at all. I would just help with, supplies. I would send some stuff to them, not a tremendous amount. And that's kind of what I think I'm trying to incline here or say. It's really the gesture. It doesn't really have to be money. It can be something else. It doesn't even have to be and maybe I forgot to mention Belk Buy-On in this video. I mentioned it, but didn't say what it was. It's just like a little small gift box that Filipinos, overseas workers send home. It doesn't even have to be an expensive gift box that you're sending. You could just spend 10 or 20 bucks for the holidays and ship it over or whatever. It doesn't have to be thousands and thousands or hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It can be, stuff that you have around the house, like, maybe clothes other relatives aren't using, but still in great condition. If, silverware and glassware, anything that you have that can be used that, for a family that's, having hard times in the Philippines, they'll love that kind of stuff. It's not even being used by you or your family or your relatives or your family anymore. They'll love to use that stuff. And that's the kind of things that, I'd look around and I would send, there's tons of stuff we have, old cell phones and stuff that we just like have in drawers. We're such a wasteful society. We have canned goods and everything in our cabinets. Now, I'm not saying you should dump garbage on people, stuff that isn't, you can't eat or not use. You just don't use it as a, kind of a waste dump or something like that. But I mean, if this is good stuff that can be used and can be consumed and it's relatively in good shape, then yeah, by all means, send it. Tell them what you're going to send and let them know and see if they have an idea and say, it's mainly the gesture. I'm trying to help, I have some stuff, I'll send it. And we have plenty of electronic stuff that we're not even using anymore. There's always stuff around the house, that we don't even know that it's there anymore. And that would really help a family out in the Philippines that people can use and things of that nature. So go to Costco, grab some stuff, Spam, canned ham, things like that. They would love to have a few of those things shipped over, and it doesn't have to be expensive to do it. But you got to be careful. There are scammers out there. There are people that are that's how they make their living. It's hard to figure it out. I mean, as far as if they're scamming or not, some people are very charming. They're very, very charming, and you don't know. So I guess I would not really send money if I don't know the person. I would go very slowly with that. Go slow with the relationship. Meet them a few times, and take it from there. And don't rush things. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. The relationship. You know, now maybe you're looking for a different kind of relationship. You're not looking for marriage. Well, that's a whole different sort of thing going on there then. And maybe the girlfriend then expects more because you're not really in a committed relationship, or what have you. I would think that most Filipinas are going to try to go from girlfriend to wife. Not all, but a lot of them are. And if you're not going to do that, they may expect a little bit more somehow, financially or a commitment or something to get you to move over into the wife area. Now that's a whole nother thing. When a person's trying to make you prove you love them, and I can't, maybe they prove through money or sending them things. We have that in the U.S. a lot too. And maybe that's what the guy will do if they don't want to commit. Now that's a whole nother scenario that, I'm not used to. I don't know anything about that really. So, I mean, that would be a difficult kind of thing if you're not planning to get married with the girl and you just want a girlfriend. Man, that's a whole nother ball of wax there, going on, and how people feel, especially here where the girl thinks you're going to marry her and bring her to the U.S. and you just keep her in the girlfriend category. That's going to be kind of difficult to navigate. And I don't know how long you can navigate that for. You can do it for a while, but the girl's going to get, I see guys here saying, oh, they're demanding. Well, maybe they are, but maybe they just want to be engaged and married too. They want a commitment, and they're not going to be so much like Western women where they're not really looking to get married. Here they are. And I would say if you meet a Filipina that doesn't want to get married and have kids, that's kind of an alarm bell in itself, that maybe they're not looking, they're looking for something that's not very common here in the Philippines. They, the girls will become girlfriends, but they're hoping to go to something else, to another, what we'd say in the U.S., another level, right? But I would say, as one American to another or Westerner, these girls are not going to be happy with that. Maybe some will, I don't know. But I would say the majority are going to want a more committed relationship with that. And that's where the money thing may be a problem if you're just going to keep them at the girlfriend level. I don't really, there's probably guys on the internet that have more experience with that than I do, where they have, they've gone through a couple of Filipina girlfriends. But I think that might be kind of a big problem. All right. I got to say, have a great time. I got to get out of here. Take care. Okay.